We tested ice cream from Walmart, Costco, Target, Aldi, and 10 more US stores. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you watched our milk testing video, you already know how this works. We go out, we buy the same product from as many major stores as we can, we test everything blind and honestly, and we tell you exactly what we found. Today, we are doing ice cream. And I want to be upfront about something right away. Ice cream is one of the most personal food categories there is. People have strong feelings about their favorite flavors, their preferred texture, whether they like it dense or airy, rich or light. So for this test, we standardized everything as much as possible. We tested vanilla ice cream from every store, because vanilla is the baseline. It is the one flavor where you cannot hide behind mix-ins or toppings. The ice cream itself has to stand on its own. We bought vanilla ice cream from 13 of the biggest grocery retailers in the United States. We kept every container at the same storage temperature. We scooped them all at the same consistency. We tested blind. And we evaluated each one on 5 criteria: appearance, smell, texture, flavor, and overall value based on price per ounce. The stores we tested were Walmart, Costco, Target, Aldi, Kroger, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Safeway, Publix, Sam's Club, Sprouts, H-E-B, and Wegmans. 13 stores. One flavor. Let us find out who actually makes the best ice cream. Starting with Walmart. Walmart sells their store brand ice cream under the Great Value label, and it comes in a larger container than many competitors, which already gives you a value signal before you even open it. On appearance, the Great Value vanilla ice cream had a pale, clean cream color. Nothing striking, nothing off. Exactly what you expect vanilla ice cream to look like. On smell, there was a mild, clean vanilla scent. Not particularly strong or complex, but pleasant and appropriate. On texture, this is where things got a little more interesting. The Walmart ice cream had a noticeably soft, almost fluffy texture. It was easy to scoop, easy to eat, and melted fairly quickly in the bowl. For some panelists, this was a positive. For others, it suggested that the ice cream was on the airier side, meaning it had more air incorporated into it compared to denser premium options. On flavor, the panel described it as sweet, mild, and inoffensive. The vanilla flavor was present but not pronounced. It tasted like what most people would recognize as standard vanilla ice cream, without any particular personality. Price per ounce was very low, making it one of the best value options in the test purely on cost. Overall, the Walmart Great Value Vanilla Ice Cream is exactly what it sounds like. It is a perfectly functional, pleasant, budget-friendly option that will satisfy a crowd at a backyard cookout without breaking the bank. It is not going to impress an ice cream enthusiast, but it was never trying to. Next up, Costco. Costco sells their Kirkland Signature Vanilla Ice Cream, and if you have ever been to a Costco, you know that everything comes in a size that makes you reassess your freezer space. On appearance, the Kirkland Signature Vanilla had a noticeably richer, more golden cream color than the Walmart option. It immediately looked denser and more substantial in the container. On smell, the aroma was significantly more pronounced. There was a clear, warm vanilla scent with a richness that several panelists commented on before they even tasted it. On texture, this is where Costco really stood out. The ice cream was dense, creamy, and smooth. It required slightly more effort to scoop, which is a good sign because it means less air has been whipped into the product. When it melted in the bowl, it melted into a thick, creamy pool rather than a thin, watery puddle. The mouthfeel was luxurious. On flavor, the panel responded very positively. The vanilla flavor was clean, genuine, and well-developed. There was a richness and depth that felt closer to homemade or premium ice cream than store brand. Multiple panelists put it in their top 2 without hesitation. Price per ounce was extremely competitive given the quality, especially when you factor in the large container size. Overall, Costco is one of the top performers in this entire test and one of the best value propositions for anyone who goes through ice cream regularly. The quality punches well above its price point. Moving on to Target. Target sells ice cream under their Good and Gather brand, and like everything Target does, the packaging is clean and appealing. On appearance, the Good and Gather vanilla was a light, clean cream color, looked fresh and inviting. On smell, there was a mild, pleasant vanilla scent with a slight sweetness that was welcoming. On texture, the ice cream was smooth and consistent, not as dense as Costco, but noticeably less airy than Walmart. It sat in a good middle range, easy to scoop, held its shape reasonably well in the bowl, and melted at a moderate rate. On flavor, the panel found it to be clean and enjoyable. The vanilla flavor was present and pleasant without being artificial or overwhelming. A few panelists described it as well-balanced, which is exactly what you want from a vanilla ice cream. Nothing competed with the vanilla. It just tasted like good vanilla ice cream. Price per ounce was moderate, sitting in the mid-range of our group. Overall, Target delivers a solid, well-made vanilla ice cream that reflects the brand well. It is not the most exciting thing in the test, but it is reliably good, and that counts for a lot in a product you are going to eat regularly. Now let us talk about Aldi. Aldi always brings high expectations in value comparisons, and their ice cream, sold under the Sunday Shop label, is no exception. On appearance, the Sunday Shop vanilla had a pale cream color, similar to Walmart, but slightly warmer in tone. On smell, there was a mild vanilla scent that was clean and appropriate. On texture, the Aldi ice cream was on the softer, airier side, similar to Walmart. It scooped very easily and melted fairly quickly. Some panelists appreciated how approachable the texture was. Others noted that it lacked the density they associate with quality ice cream. On flavor, this is where the panel was genuinely impressed given the price point. The vanilla flavor was clean, mildly sweet, and much more pleasant than the soft texture might have suggested. There were no off notes, no artificial aftertaste, and no complaints from any panelist. Price per ounce was the lowest in the entire test, by a notable margin. Overall, Aldi's ice cream follows the same pattern as their milk. It is significantly better than its price suggests, and if you are feeding a family or stocking up for a party, it represents extraordinary value. Ice cream enthusiasts looking for a premium experience will want to look elsewhere, but for everyday enjoyment at a low price, Aldi is remarkably difficult to beat. Next is Kroger. Kroger sells their store-brand ice cream in a large container, and going into the test, it was one of the options our panel was most curious about, given how well the Kroger milk performed in our previous test. On appearance, the Kroger vanilla ice cream had a warm, golden cream color that immediately suggested a richer product. On smell, the aroma was clean and genuine, with a noticeable vanilla presence that leaned toward real vanilla rather than artificial flavoring. On texture, Kroger delivered a dense, smooth, creamy texture that the panel responded to very positively. It was close to Costco in terms of density and mouthfeel, which is high praise. The ice cream held its shape well after scooping and melted slowly and richly. On flavor, this was one of the strongest performances in the entire test. The vanilla flavor was complex, well-developed, and clearly made with quality ingredients. Multiple panelists described it as genuinely delicious rather than just acceptable. The balance between sweetness and vanilla depth was very well executed. Price per ounce was competitive, especially given the quality of the product. Overall, Kroger once again proves itself as one of the best store brands available. The ice cream is legitimately excellent, and for the price, it is one of the best options in the entire test. Just like their milk, Kroger's ice cream over-delivers relative to expectations for a store-brand product. Now, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has a devoted fan base that swears by their food quality, and their vanilla ice cream, sold under the Trader Joe's brand, comes with high expectations. On appearance, the ice cream had a rich, warm cream color that looked dense and premium. On smell, the aroma was notably strong and genuine. Several panelists immediately picked up on a real vanilla scent that was markedly different from the more generic vanilla smell of the budget options. It had a warmth and complexity that suggested higher quality vanilla sourcing. On texture, Trader Joe's delivered a wonderfully dense, creamy, smooth experience. The ice cream was clearly a higher fat, lower air product that felt genuinely premium in the mouth. It melted slowly and luxuriously and left a satisfying coating on the palate. On flavor, the panel was enthusiastic. The vanilla flavor was deep, genuine, and complex. It tasted like vanilla that came from actual vanilla beans rather than artificial flavoring. There was a subtle floral quality to it that several panelists commented on. A number of people ranked it first in the blind taste test. Price per ounce was on the higher end, but still reasonable given the quality. Overall, Trader Joe's delivers a premium ice cream experience at a price that is not quite premium. It is one of the strongest performers in this test from a pure quality perspective, and if taste is your priority, it is an easy recommendation. Next up, Whole Foods. Whole Foods sells ice cream under their 365 brand, positioned as a premium, quality-focused product. They also carry a wide range of third-party premium and organic ice creams, but we tested their store brand for consistency with the rest of our lineup. On appearance, the 365 vanilla ice cream had a clean, pale cream color, looked fresh and properly made. On smell, the aroma was mild and clean, with a gentle vanilla presence. Not as pronounced as Trader Joe's or Kroger, but pleasant. On texture, the ice cream was smooth and consistent, denser than the budget options but not quite as rich as the top performers. It had a clean, pleasant mouthfeel without any graininess or iciness. On flavor, the panel found it to be clean, slightly restrained, and well-made. The vanilla flavor was genuine rather than artificial, but not as pronounced or complex as Trader Joe's or Kroger. A few panelists described it as understated, which could be a positive or a negative depending on personal preference. Price per ounce was among the highest in the test. Overall, the Whole Foods 365 vanilla ice cream is a good, clean product. But much like their milk, the price premium does not entirely match the taste premium. You are paying partly for quality and partly for the Whole Foods brand experience. There are options in this test that taste as good or better for meaningfully less money. Now let us talk about Safeway. Safeway sells their store brand ice cream under the Signature Select label. On appearance, the vanilla was a standard light cream color, clean and consistent. On smell, there was a mild vanilla aroma, pleasant and appropriate. On texture, the ice cream was smooth and moderate in density, not notably airy and not notably dense. A reliable middle-of-the-road texture that most people would find completely satisfying. On flavor, the panel described the Safeway ice cream as solid and dependable. The vanilla flavor was present, clean, and pleasant. It did not excite anyone, but it did not disappoint either. It tasted like good vanilla ice cream without any particular distinguishing qualities. Price per ounce was moderate. Overall, Safeway is a reliable choice. If you shop at Safeway regularly and grab their store brand ice cream, you will not be disappointed. It is not going to top any best of lists, but it consistently delivers what it promises. Moving on to Publix. Publix ice cream is something of a legend in the southeastern United States. Their premium brand ice cream has a devoted following, and going into this test, several members of our panel had already heard good things. On appearance, the Publix Premium Vanilla had a beautiful, rich golden cream color that immediately conveyed quality. It was one of the most visually appealing products in the entire test. On smell, the aroma was warm, rich, and genuinely inviting. Strong vanilla presence with a creamy sweetness that made several panelists eager to taste it. On texture, Publix delivered an exceptional product. The ice cream was dense, velvety, and incredibly smooth. There was virtually no iciness and no graininess. It scooped cleanly, held its shape beautifully, and when it melted, it left a rich, creamy coating that several panelists remarked on specifically. On flavor, Publix was among the absolute best in the test. The vanilla flavor was deep, warm, and clearly made with real vanilla. There was a complexity that set it apart from even the other strong performers. Multiple panelists ranked it first, and several who had been skeptical before the test admitted it was genuinely outstanding. Price per ounce was competitive and represented excellent value for the quality. Overall, Publix Premium Ice Cream is one of the best products in this entire test. It competes directly with ice creams that cost significantly more and wins on taste in most comparisons. If you are in a Publix market area, this is one of the best ice creams you can buy at any price point. Now let us talk about Sam's Club. Sam's Club sells ice cream under their Members Mark brand, and like Costco, the value conversation is always about the bulk format. On appearance, the Members Mark Vanilla had a clean, warm cream color, looked consistent and well made. On smell, there was a pleasant vanilla aroma, mild but genuine. On texture, the ice cream was smooth and moderately dense. Not quite at the level of Costco or Publix in terms of creaminess, but noticeably better than the airier budget options. It was a very solid middle-tier texture. On flavor, the panel found it enjoyable and clean. The vanilla flavor was mild but genuine, without any artificial notes. A few panelists ranked it in their top half of the test, and nobody ranked it near the bottom. It was consistently described as good. Price per ounce was very competitive, especially given the bulk format. Overall, Sam's Club is a strong value play, particularly for households that go through ice cream quickly. The quality is genuinely solid, and the per-ounce price is difficult to argue with. It does not reach the heights of Costco or Publix, but it delivers reliable quality at a bulk price. Next is Sprouts. Sprouts is positioned as a natural and fresh-focused grocery chain, and their approach to ice cream reflects that philosophy. On appearance, the Sprouts vanilla ice cream had a beautiful, warm, rich cream color with a texture that looked dense and high quality even before tasting. On smell, the aroma was one of the most impressive in the test. There was a genuine, warm vanilla richness with a creamy sweetness that felt more artisanal than commercial. On texture, Sprouts delivered a dense, smooth, clearly premium product. The fat content was noticeably higher, contributing to a velvety mouthfeel that the panel responded to with consistent enthusiasm. It melted slowly and richly, leaving a satisfying coating that several people mentioned specifically. On flavor, Sprouts was a genuine contender for the top spot. The vanilla flavor was complex, rich, and clearly made with quality sourcing. It had a depth that reminded multiple panelists of ice cream from local creameries or premium artisan brands. Several people ranked it first or second. Price per ounce was on the higher end of the test. Overall, Sprouts delivers a premium ice cream experience that justifies its price point far better than Whole Foods does. If you are an ice cream enthusiast who prioritizes quality and you have a Sprouts nearby, this is absolutely worth trying. Now, H-E-B. If you watched our milk video, you already know that H-E-B is not just a grocery store to the people of Texas. It is a source of regional pride. Their Creamy Creations ice cream is one of the most beloved regional ice cream brands in the country, and the expectations going into this test were high. On appearance, the H-E-B Creamy Creations vanilla had a gorgeous, deep golden cream color that was immediately striking. It looked like premium ice cream before a single bite was taken. On smell, the aroma was extraordinary. Rich, warm, deeply vanilla, with a genuine dairy richness that several panelists described as smelling like a creamery. It was the strongest and most genuinely appealing smell of any ice cream in the test. On texture, H-E-B was at the very top of the test. The ice cream was exceptionally dense, smooth, and rich. The fat content was clearly higher than most competitors, and the result was an incredibly luxurious mouthfeel. It scooped cleanly into perfect, firm balls, held its shape longer than almost anything else we tested, and when it finally melted, it transformed into a thick, rich cream. On flavor, H-E-B earned the top taste scores in our entire test. The vanilla flavor was genuinely exceptional. It was deep, complex, warm, and clearly made with high-quality real vanilla. Several panelists became visibly enthusiastic during the tasting when they got to this sample. The word outstanding came up multiple times unprompted. Multiple people said it was the best vanilla ice cream they had tasted in years. Price per ounce was very reasonable given the quality, making it one of the best value-to-quality ratios in the entire test. Overall, H-E-B Creamy Creations vanilla ice cream is the top performer in this test. Full stop. The taste, texture, appearance, and value combine to create a product that genuinely competes with the best premium ice cream brands in the country, while being sold as a store brand at a store brand price. If you are in Texas or any area served by H-E-B, this is the ice cream you should be buying. Finally, Wegmans. Wegmans is consistently rated as one of the best grocery stores in America, and their store brand ice cream comes with the same expectation of excellence that their other products carry. On appearance, the Wegmans vanilla had a rich, warm cream color that looked dense and high quality. On smell, the aroma was deeply pleasing. There was a genuine, rich vanilla scent with a warmth and complexity that immediately signaled a quality product. On texture, Wegmans delivered one of the finest textures in the test. The ice cream was dense, velvety, and smooth, with none of the iciness or graininess that can sometimes appear in store-brand products. It scooped beautifully, held its shape well, and melted slowly and richly. On flavor, the panel placed Wegmans at the very top of the test, alongside H-E-B. The vanilla flavor was exceptional, genuine, and complex. It had a depth and warmth that suggested real vanilla was a meaningful component rather than artificial flavoring. Multiple panelists rated it their number 1 or number 2 pick, and nobody ranked it low. Price per ounce was moderate and represented outstanding value for the quality. Overall, Wegmans is a co-champion in this test alongside H-E-B. The ice cream is genuinely exceptional and one of the best store brand products we have tested across any category. If you have access to a Wegmans, their ice cream is something you should absolutely be buying regularly. So let us bring it all together. What did we actually learn from testing 13 stores worth of vanilla ice cream? The first lesson is the same one we learned from the milk test. Price does not reliably predict quality. Whole Foods was expensive and did not crack the top tier. Aldi was the cheapest option and delivered genuinely good ice cream. Kroger cost less than Trader Joe's and competed with it on taste. The second lesson is that texture is the great divider in ice cream quality. The biggest gap between the budget options and the premium options was not primarily in flavor. It was in texture. The density, creaminess, and mouthfeel of the top-tier ice creams was meaningfully different from the lighter, airier budget options. If you value a rich, creamy ice cream experience, that is where the quality gap shows up most clearly. The third lesson is that regional brands can be extraordinary. HEB is not a national brand. People outside of Texas often have no idea how exceptional their products are. This test is a reminder that some of the best grocery products in the country are not available everywhere, and if you happen to live near one of these regional chains, you should take advantage of it. Now for rankings. On taste, the top performers were HEB, Wegmans, Publix, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and Kroger. These 6 consistently receive the highest marks and represent the best ice cream experiences in our test. On value, the top performers were Aldi, Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, and Kroger. These give you the best combination of quality and price. For the single best overall recommendation, we are giving the top spot to HEB Creamy Creations for those who have access to it, and Publix Premium for those in the southeastern United States. For everyone else, Kroger is the most universally available top performer, and Costco is the best value play for bulk buyers. And if budget is your primary concern, do not be embarrassed to grab the Aldi ice cream. It genuinely impressed everyone who tasted it. A few final notes worth keeping in mind. Ice cream quality is affected significantly by how it is stored and transported. A premium ice cream that has been through temperature fluctuations will lose quality fast. Always check that your ice cream container has no signs of previous melting and refreezing, which can appear as frost on the inside of the lid or a sunken top layer. Vanilla ice cream, made with real vanilla beans or real vanilla extract, will almost always taste better than versions made with artificial vanilla flavoring. If you are choosing between 2 similar price options, checking the ingredient label for real vanilla versus artificial flavor is worth doing. And finally, fat content matters. Higher fat ice creams are denser, creamier, and melt more slowly. If you are comparing 2 options and one is notably cheaper, a quick check of the fat content on the nutrition label can tell you a lot about why. We hope this breakdown helps you the next time you are standing in the freezer aisle trying to decide whether you are reaching for the Aldi container to feed a crowd on a budget, picking up a Costco 2-pack for the household, or treating yourself to the best vanilla experience you can find from Wegmans or HEB. You now know exactly what you are choosing and why. If this video was helpful, please give it a like, share it with your fellow ice cream lovers, and subscribe for more honest product comparisons. We have got a lot more testing coming up. Leave a comment below and tell us your all-time favorite ice cream. We read every single one. See you in the next one.